Corporal Scott Casey joining us now here on the Midday Set to talk about his book and how he's doing in his life. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Cheryl. Thank you.
That's great. That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah, it's a euphoric time right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. You are so busy. There's so much stuff going on, but one of the coolest things going on is the release of Ghostkeepers with an American publisher. Absolutely.
Yeah, Tactical 16 is my publisher, and they've taken a chance with a Canadian story, and so far we're doing really well. When it was initially released 3 weeks ago, we were #1 in Canadian military history and #1 in historical biography right out of the gate.
That's fantastic.
It's a really good start, yeah.
And how does that make you feel?
Oh, I'm elated.
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted the story to be told, and now the fact that it's doing so well is very promising. So yeah, I'm happy.
And you know, as people start to read this, I think that there's going to be such great word of mouth that it's just going to take off from there. You talk about so many things in your book, and I think people are going to find it fascinating. One of the things that I found really interesting, though, is how you talk about PTSD, as a soldier, and how a soldier really goes from a caterpillar to a moth, and just that whole transformation. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, and there's no coming back from it. I mean, once the metamorphosis has taken place, that's you're set.
You can't come back as the same person that you went away as.
That's right. Yeah. There's a definite change there for sure. So.
And your book really is about that change that you went through.
Yeah, the book deals with going over and that traumatic events happening, and then coming back, homecoming, and having to deal with that, you know, the tragedies that you've experienced, and then trying to find some resiliency in there and come out ahead, because a lot of guys can't do it.
Well, and I think the expectation is there that when somebody leaves and comes back, everybody else has gone about their life as normal, and so they expect the person who's coming back to be the same.
Right.
As when they left, but they're not.
Yeah, and we're not. PTSD doesn't affect everybody, you know, that's in these situations. I would say that they're definitely impacted in some way, but yeah, it's a select amount of people that this happens to. So regardless of whether they have it or not, when they come home, they're going to be different people. It's the way it's going to be. So.
And so you talk a lot about that, but you just talk about what actually happened in Afghanistan as well. And for us that followed it in the news, I think there's lots in the book that would be really shocking to most of us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
everybody, no idea.
Yeah, people have a warm, fuzzy feeling of what peacekeeping. Yeah, you know, they think of it as a pistol and a ball hat and a jeep. And when you've got guys with anti-tank rockets and artillery pieces and so on, and they're engaging in you know, combat on a regular basis, it's definitely not your you know, your warm fuzzy feeling of peacekeeping. So yeah, and all of this happened you know, under the guise of the United Nations, so it wasn't spoke of. You know, it's a very hush-hush story till now.
I'm glad you're telling the story.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So how can we get it? How can we pick it up?
It's available on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Chapters Indigo, Books A Million. Basically, any online outlet carries it now, and there is a bit of a shipping delay, but
it's worth the wait.
It's worth the wait.
Yes.
I like to think so anyway. Yeah. I've been receiving some really good reviews on it, so I'm happy about that.
Great. So Google it, look up Ghostkeepers. Corporal Scott Casey, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. And if I could just mention quickly, on November 12th, I will be at Chapters Indigo in Kamloops at the just above the Aberdeen Mall there for a book signing.
Nice.
1 p.m.
Okay, perfect. We'll be there. Thanks.
Thanks so
much for joining us. We're going to be back in just a moment here on Midday.